Hey everyone, I just wanted to kickstart something I've been wanting to do for a long time. As many of you know, I'm a huge ARPG/MMO fan. They suit my lifestyle. At the moment, I don't have the time investment to play games which require a high skill cap, and I like to go at the pace of my life at the moment. So here we are. Anyway, with that due, welcome to the MMO Diaries, and this is mainly a project that is, I guess, more for me than it is for everyone else. I just like sometimes to vent my thoughts without having to follow a script, without having to check certain, areas and tick boxes, and just get a feel for what's going on in my head and my experiences with the games that I'm playing. And more importantly, maybe you can take away some stuff because we will follow a key theme with each of these episodes. Anyway, I'm going to kick off this series with just talking about New World. As some of you may know, the beta is going on at the moment, the open beta. They have had a closed beta before, and it's set to come out at the end of the month. And I'm going to put this straight out there. When the game first came out and I played the closed beta, I was immensely disappointed with it. The combat was extremely janky, rubber bandy, just didn't feel right. The whole system of weapons and swapping, I don't know, something at the time just didn't really sit well with me. Needless to say, I didn't play the game very long and I kind of put it back into its box. So spin around to the second beta, I thought I'd dig it out and give it another go. Anyway, the first thing that immediately screamed out at me was the fact that this game plays so much better when the server demand isn't just screaming with players. The villages are busy, but they're not so compact and just rammed together that it just looks bizarre. I mean, there was a point in the closed beta where you have to find a storage chest, and I just couldn't see it. I must have spent about 30 minutes just foraging through a sea of people to try and get to where I wanted to. Additionally, it's quite clear that these servers have a little bit of a cap on them because the lag was nowhere near as bad as it was. I was playing on NA West, and I am in the UK, and it's just a lot smoother. I mean, I always use a comparison of Guild Wars 2 when it comes to like third-person crosshair fighting style games, and there is this still element of rubber banding, and the block system doesn't seem to naturally flow with things, and also the dodge I don't know, it just doesn't quite marry together. It's like one of those meals where you go, these are all my favourite foods, and if I marry them all together, it's surely to make this beautiful, gorgeous appetizer, and it just doesn't quite work out the way you planned it. But the game does run very, very well. They seem to have made some changes in the performance areas as well, and it felt smooth and it did feel responsive. And overall, I was very, very pleased. They've also seemed to have got the camera angles kind of perfect. Some games I play, and it's just absolutely terrible to just sit behind your character, and yeah, it's going well on that front. Now, if I was playing this game purely for the combat and just the whole questing system, I think I would be a little bit burnt out after maybe a couple of weeks, because it is kind of samey and it's not really all that revolutionary. However, what has got me absolutely hooked, and I absolutely love at the moment, is the whole crafting and resource gathering system. It has just got all the elements I absolutely love in survival games. It's like one of those cookie cutter games. You go out and you can just mindlessly chop down trees and stone and turn them into something else, and then build weapons out of it and then sell them on the auction house or put them in a chest. And I know that to some that must scream out that, that's so boring, Dom, that's just not my cup of tea. But if you are in the resource gathering trade and you are one of, the collectors of like survival games, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Even the sound, which can get a little bit buggy at the time, just resonates so well. You'll be chopping away in the tree, and in the distance you'll hear the echo of someone else, thudding away also on a tree or hitting a stone, and it's just so harmonic and so beautiful, and I've fallen for it hook, line and sinker. The other great joy of this as well is because back in World of Warcraft there were a lot of memes of you collected some resources, you got a little bit of XP, and there was that guy who stayed on Panda Island and basically leveled all the way up to the very end without ever getting any combat whatsoever, like the pure pacifist build. Well, in this, you get a really good chunk of XP. You don't really have to dive into doing loads of quests. Now, admittedly, I'm not sure about the two comparisons at the moment, so questing could be quicker, but I'm making decent chunks of change with each of the hand-ins for my crafting at the moment. And that's just that's absolutely brilliant, because I can do what I absolutely love doing, and at the same time I can progress through the game and slowly work up to level 50. Now I honestly don't know how that's going to impact me down the line and whether or not this is a silly mistake, but this is potentially going to be my first run where I'm going to level the game purely just doing resourcing and building and selling stuff on the auction house. Because from what I've seen, everything is very player run. You all have to go out and collect resources and then turn them into various components to then make other components and eventually make your armor and weapons. And the way this crafting system works really overlaps with the questing system as well. So for example, I was in the forest and there's a quest where a lot of people have to basically kill off a lot of wolves. But me, I decided to just sit there and skin all the wolves that people were leaving behind. Now whether that was done intentionally, I have no idea, because the way the game flows at the moment, I feel like maybe they thought, oh, well, you go off and then you would do your quests and eventually you'll come back and you'll do all your resourcing, and then that's like two separate lines of things to do. Maybe there was some direction and they thought, no, we want to give people the opportunity to just go out and gather and build stuff and they can enjoy the game that way. And then for everyone else who wants to go off and do action and combat, then they can level up another way. This at the moment is all very early levels at the moment. So I am only 11 and I have done mainly crafting to get that far with a few side quests here and there. And how this feeds into PvP later on. And I'm still not sure how much PvP plays a role in all of the game, whether or not you can really just experience it for a MMO with a good story and late game mechanic. But for me, I think these are all things I definitely want to explore. And even if I get only like 2-3 weeks of enjoyment out of it, I think the game will certainly have earned its money back, because the title isn't overly expensive at the moment and there isn't a monthly subscription behind it. So at the moment, I feel like I'm in the first chapter of New World and I have got that initial MMO excitement. And that makes me happy. I'm pleased. I haven't had that for a long time, since the early days of WoW or Guild Wars 2. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. At the moment, I'm still playing Lost Ark, which is really, really good. There'll be more content updates on that from me soon. And also, I'll give more details on my experiences with New World as we go through it together. I do have some concerns around the New World PvP model, but I think I'll leave that for another video. But I hope everyone has a great week, and yeah, I'll be back with more news and reviews soon, so thanks for listening.